Okay, hi everybody. I've noticed that you're having a couple of difficulties creating the last part of the lab where you need to create a conditional statement depending on the distance of the sonar. Let me go back really quick and explain how the code for the sonar works. First of all, we're going to use the new ping library, which allows us to have a trigger pin, which is going to be on our HCSR04 sensor, which is going to be located on pin 12. We have the echo pin, and we have the maximum distance that we can change if we want. Remember that the sonar reaches from 2 centimeters all the way to 400 centimeters, around 4 meters, which is the maximum distance. 2 meters is enough for us. So when we create the sonar, the first thing we have to do is create new ping and establish the parameters that are going to let us indicate what are the pins used for the sonar. So we have the trigger pin, the echo pin, and the maximum distance. Okay, as you can see in your lab, you can see what is this, the distance when you have an object. Okay, you can see it on the serial monitor, and you can see the different distances. Now the question is, what do I do if there is a certain distance or not, or if I need to work with a range of distance? Well, first of all, on your program, the US is pretty much like the microseconds that we're using in order for the wave to come back, and that is the time that it takes for the wave to go and bounce and come back, and this is what is recorded for the Arduino. Okay, now when you print, you have this formula. Okay, you have the microseconds and the round trip in centimeters, which is just basically a formula multiplying by 2, etc. This is not stored in any variable. What we're going to do is that we're going to change this formula a little bit in order to store it in a variable. Okay, and this variable we're gonna use it for the conditional statement. Okay, so we're gonna have this. As a matter of fact, just in case you have doubles, you want to cast your formula to an integer number because you're going to store it in an integer variable. Okay, I do think that this returns an integer number. Okay, so look what it says: converting ping time to distance in centimeters and print result 0 if it's outside the distance. So you have to be careful because if it's more than 200 centimeters, then it will show 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we have to take that into account when we're doing our conditional statements. And then we print our centimeters. Okay, now here is where we are going to create the conditions depending on the variable that we used. Okay, centimeters, right? So I'm going to erase this because I'm not going to print the centimeters at this point. I'm just going to make sure that if the condition is met, then it will do something, and then I'll print. So let's say serial print. First of all, I'm going to show my variable. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it in a new line every time. Print variable and create my conditional statement. We've done it before, so you just have to remember, depending on an integer value, if it's bigger or smaller or equal to, then we can make the condition. So if centimeters is less than, I don't know, so we want to make it smaller than 15 centimeters, so I'm going to say that if centimeters is less than 15, I'm going to do something. Okay, in that case, I just want to understand what I'm going to do, so I can, I don't know, just turn on an LED. Depending on the LED, if it's on pin 3, then I'm going to make it high, or I'm going to make a sequence of LEDs. Okay, turning it off and on. Okay, remember that we can create a sequence, so every time that this happens, it's going to turn off and on, or just turn on. Okay, So if we want to leave it on, if this happens, then we create an if statement. If this condition is not met, then I say else, okay? And if I have more than one condition, remember that we use else if. So else, just in case this happens, then I turn off the LED. So this is very simple in any other circumstance. So what is the question here? Remember that if it's outside of the range, it will show 0, okay? So in this case, we need to exclude the 0 from our condition. So if it's less than 15 and centimeters, okay, it's different from 0. So if we want to say different, then we will just say different from 0, then do this, okay? This means different from 0. So we can exclude the 0 from our condition. That way, if there is no object around, it will show 0 and it will not enter, thinking that it's just a very small gap, okay? So I think that just with this and you being able to store the variable, I think you're going to be able to complete the lab, okay? So good luck with that, and hopefully we can continue with our Arduino labs.